I'm Christina Neely, your host of Bville Live. Today we're going to be making a delicious and healthy pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving. Pumpkin pies can be made up to 2 days ahead of time. Make sure you refrigerate after it's cooled. And let's begin. The first thing our recipe calls for, and I'm using the standard Libby's pumpkin pie recipe that's been on their label for years. I understand it's recently changed. I prefer the original recipe. We're going to start with 3/4 of a cup of sugar. So I have a 1/4 cup measure here. I'm going to measure it out 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. And I've noticed over the years when I've been baking that if I'm a little bit off, I don't worry about it. It usually works out fine. So that was 3/4 of a cup of sugar. To that, we're going to add our spice mixture. And we're going to start with salt. So I'm going to use a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Measure here for a 1/2 teaspoon. And again, if I'm a little bit light or a little heavy on the salt, I tend to go on the light side for things that like spices and salt, but sugar for a little bit over, it's not going to matter too much. And then to that, we're going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of cloves and a 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger. So let's do our 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger. Smells wonderful. It smells like Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving is a time that we need to all reflect and be grateful for the things that we have. Food on our plates, a roof over our head, and a wonderful family to share it with. And we're going to use a 1/4 cup of ground cloves. Oh my gosh, these smell heavenly. I love the smell of ground cloves, don't you? Okay, that's our spice mixture. Going to give that a quick stir. So again, that was 3/4 of a cup of sugar. That was a 1/4 cup of ground cloves, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and a 1/2 teaspoon of ginger. Okay. So I'm going to move this a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. Sorry. So I have my dry mixture in here that I'm just mixing everything together. All right. Next, I'm going to add 2 eggs. Okay. Put those in. I break my yolks first. And then I'm going to give it a good stir. So it's going to give me a fine yellow consistency. I want to make sure that all my dry ingredients are incorporated. So what are you thankful for this year? Are you thankful for a job or family? I find that being thankful for the simple things in life, like my barking dog, is best. So it's going to look like this once you're done, okay? To that, I'm going to add a can of Libby's pumpkin. And honestly, you can use any kind of pumpkin. I had Libby's, and I try and get at least 1 can during this time of year so that I have the recipe. This year I'm going to make sure I cut it off because I understand that the recipe has changed and they're using sweetened condensed milk, which I'm not real wild about that because I believe it's got corn syrup in it, but I could be wrong. Not a big fan of corn syrup. So I have a little bit of pumpkin left in the can, as you can see. So what I can't get out, I always take my liquids and put those in last. So I'm going to stir a little bit of liquid in with that, which is going to be my evaporated milk once I incorporate the pumpkin. Okay, so I'm going to give that a nice stir. Get that pumpkin all mixed in there. Beautiful, beautiful orange color. Smells wonderful. Someday we'll have smell-o-vision. Okay, that's a good job. I don't see any egg floating in there. It's going to look like that when you're done. Okay. Next, I'm going to use evaporated milk. I use fat-free. Okay, I try and cut calories whenever I can. A lot of fat in your diet is not good for you, and it's bad for your heart. My son is a cardiologist, so I'm very cognizant of this, so I try and make my recipes as healthy as possible. So I'm going to open up that can of evaporated milk. The easiest way to do that is with punch. Okay. Now, remember I said we can get the pumpkin out of here. I take some of the evaporated milk, maybe fill it about a third of the way, and then I'm going to give it a stir. Okay, and this gets the little bits in there so we don't waste anything. And then we just dump that in. Now I find with the evaporated milk, if you stir a little bit at a time, then it works better. So I'm going to give this a stir. Now I'm also going to be pouring this into a 9-inch prepared pie shell. You can either make your own. I'm cheating this year and using one that I got at the store. They were on sale and it just saved a little bit of time for me because I just moved up here recently and I'm still unpacking boxes. So every little bit helps. Alright, so when it gets like about that, I'm going to add the rest of my milk. You can throw it all in at once and just keep stirring. And I rinse my cans out when I'm done. It's a courtesy, just the recycling people. I'm also a school teacher, and one time we went on a field trip to a recycling plant and it stunk. I felt so bad for the people that worked in there. And they said that the reason it stinks is because when people throw out the recycling, they don't rinse out their cans. So I had before, but I always make an extra effort to make sure that whatever I put in recycling is clean, you know. And I think that's just common courtesy. Yeah, they told me all kinds of things that got thrown in there that weren't recyclable, but you can check on your local webpage for that. Okay, this looks good. All right, so that's what it looks like when it's done. It's pretty runny consistency. I've set my oven to 425 degrees. I'm going to bake it at 425 for the first 10 minutes. And then after that, I'm going to drop the temperature to, 425 for the first 15 minutes. Then I'm going to drop the temperature to 350 for 40 to 50 minutes. And what I do to check to see if it's done is I take a knife, I insert it in the center. I don't worry about it cutting and leaving a mark because generally at the first time you check it, it's going to be kind of raw and you might have to put it in for an extra 10 minutes. So if you do that, it'll heal up that little incision that you made in there. All right, so let's pour this into the shell. Now for some reason, sometimes you have a little bit extra. And if you do, you can always pour it into a tart, but this was fine. Just scrape this down. Now you'll notice I put mine on a cookie sheet, or actually it's a pizza pan, okay? And the reason I do that is because sometimes if you're not steady, when you put it in the oven, it'll spill. And I have a nice clean oven that I'm going to be cooking my turkey in tomorrow, so I want to make sure my oven stays clean. All right. I'm going to show you what the finished product looks like in about 1 hour. Quite be done. Okay, so I'm going to stick a fork in the center. Okay, that came out clean, and that's what they mean by clean. Okay, so that pie is cooked. That's done. So we're going to have a delicious pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving, and that's an authentic Libby's recipe. Thanks for watching. I'll let you know how it tastes tomorrow on Thanksgiving. We'll get the taste testers in on it.